When defining the real taste of chocolate in the country, we are the undisputed market leader in India's chocolate market with more than 65% market share. We have been driving the chocolate category in India by providing the right product experience as well as building relevance in our consumers' life. From Raksha Bandhan to Valentine's Day, not to mention the cricket season, Cadbury Dairy Milk has become synonymous with all occasions and celebrations. We have introduced a slew of new product innovations with our recent launches. 1948, Cadbury Dairy Milk launched and India gets its first taste of chocolate. 1967, Cadbury 5 Star, India's first multi-textural chocolate snack. 1969, Cadbury Gems became the country's first bite-sized snack, which made sharing and eating chocolates fun. 1998, Cadbury Celebrations made Cadbury synonymous with festive celebrations. 2010, Cadbury Dairy Milk Silk played Cupid for young couples and created the premium chocolate market. 2014, Cadbury Dairy Milk Silk Caramello became India's first center-filled chocolate. 2015, Cadbury Dairy Milk Silk Bubbly was launched, India's first aerated chocolate. 2016, Cadbury Fuse launched India's first co-extruded count line, the Peanutty Chocolatey Feast. 2017 brought chocolate and biscuit together with the launch of Cadbury Dairy Milk Silk Oreo. 2017, the premium, crunchy, chewy, chocolatey Cadbury 5 Star 3D was now available. 2018, Cadbury Dairy Milk reimagined into a crispy and chocolatey finger format with the Crispello. We continue to empower our consumers with choice. Now, in 2019, what innovation is next?
A few minutes back, I had asked you to sample some of the chocolate on the table, which is Cadbury Dairy Milk. That, in fact, was actually Cadbury Dairy Milk 30% reduced sugar. This new product is actually very, very, very similar to the current Cadbury Dairy Milk taste, and that's what makes us very, very excited. So, I mean, that's the reason we're, our whole proposition, and I'll take you through in a little bit of time. We're calling it 30% less sugar with the same great taste. So again, invite some of you to try some more cubes on the table to, again, validate that for yourself. But what we are really, really excited by is the fact that we've been able to create this wonderful new alternative for consumers, and which is very, very similar tasting to Cadbury Dairy Milk, which is what makes us very excited. Let me take you through a little bit of a context as to, what's the role of this launch, why do we think it's going to be big, etc. I think fundamentally, the roots of the context of this launch is rooted in the consumer and what the consumer wants. We strongly believe that we need to know our consumers very deeply. When we worked with the consumers, one of the things that came through very strongly in the context of their lives is really the fact that they're looking for choice. Today, all of us are looking for choice. If you look at the seating in this conference hall, there's a choice of the kind of chair you want to sit in. It's not as if you want to make it confusing. It's all about choice, right? in terms of the kind of entertainment opportunities that you've got, what you want to consume, which screen you want to consume in, what type of entertainment you want to consume, be it in terms of the way you want to commute, and all of this in the context of a few years back, where we were really very limited in terms of the kind of choice we've got and the kind of explosion that we are seeing, right? And of course, in the context of shopping as well, and the way different shopping environments are developing very rapidly, not only in metros but across the country. And finally, last but not the least, really, when it comes to snacking, what we are seeing is the consumer is looking for a lot of choice. Overall, we're seeing that snacking is growing rapidly. It is growing fast. If you look at the overall consumer's life and all of our lives, some of the standard trends of convenience, of time compression, of living in kind of the traffic-ridden cities that we live in, over a period of time, the 3 square meals are getting replaced by more and more snacks, more and more snacking. So snacking is growing, and in the context of snacking, the consumer is looking for choices. And one of the things he is looking for is what kind of choices do their favorite brands offer them. And this is the context in which we have introduced Cadbury Dairy Milk 30% less sugar. So it is yet another alternative from Cadbury Dairy Milk. And of course, as I've told you, it tastes very similar. So it's not as if it's going to replace the current Cadbury Dairy Milk. It is going to sit alongside. And pretty much, we believe it is possibly going to offer a choice to many consumers who at some points of time might want to consume something which has possibly lesser sugar. Yeah? I think sugar or lesser sugar is just one such alternative. When it comes to textures, we've been offering different textures. When it comes to flavors, we've been offering different flavors. And very similarly, in this context of ingredients, we are seeing consumers seek that kind of alternative. So I think that's one of the important messages we want to give you. From a marketing standpoint, we want to support the consumer and offer him alternatives. And this is again a very interesting alternative that we want to offer consumers. We think that this could be category defining, and many of the things that we have done from a category standpoint has been led by Cadbury Dairy Milk. And hence, unlike in other cases, we have taken a bold step by picking our lead brand, picking the lead SKU of our lead brand to introduce this. So it's not something small that we're doing. It's not something which is kind of an experiment. We have done a lot of work. We've done a lot of validation. This has been 2 years in the making. We've worked with our R&D colleagues in UK and the Global Technical Center that we developed in Thane. They've worked together for the past 2 years to develop this product. Of course, it's made in India. And along with UK, for Mondelez Global, this is the first ever this initiative that we are kind of rolling out in concurrence, both in UK and in India. This is one of the first. We've never done this on Cadbury Dairy Milk before, right? So, I think a large focus has gone into, kind of optimizing and getting to the right taste. And as you can see on the package, on the back of pack, and on the screen, we've been able to deliver this without any artificial sweetener. So no artificial sweeteners, no stevia, actually nothing to enhance the sweetness. And that's where really the history of making chocolate has come in handy. We've been able to play around with the recipe. Finally, this, along with Cadbury Dairy Milk, continues to have cocoa, milk, fat, and sugar as its primary ingredients. So that remains the same. So how do we take away 30% of sugar and yet deliver the great taste? How do we make the same recipe differently? Is where really the kind of the art and science of our R&D colleagues has come in handy, and that's what has taken us so much time. And now that we've developed the product, we tested it with the consumers, I think the strongest proposition from a consumer standpoint is the fact that it's taste. Typically, when you have something like this on the pack, initially there's always apprehension saying, how does it taste? But every time we've, sampled it, we've tasted it with consumers, they've come back with saying, wow, are you saying it's 30% less? We couldn't figure out. So that's what makes it very exciting. We are in the process of rolling it out in the course of the next few weeks, starting from Delhi and the metros into the wider country. It's going to be distributed far and wide across, both traditional trade, modern trade, and e-commerce. And of course, there's going to be multimedia support to drive awareness for this offer. We are going to go live on digital. It's going to be a digital first launch because it's going to be, we're going to starting to roll out from a limited way from the metro. So we're going live on digital. And really, in the course of the next 10 days, starting to hit the market. The core proposition, and as we've explored consumer in the context of snacking, they want choice. While making that choice, they don't want to compromise taste. And because we've cracked the taste which is quintessential dairy milk. That's what our proposition is all about. Wahi swad, wahi mithas. We know that dairy milk is all about kuch meetha ho jaye. So yet another expression of meetha, right? Yet another alternative to meetha, delivering the same sweetness. So that's really the proposition. That's what we're going to bring alive. The first focus in the launch from a marketing standpoint is to drive trials and really overcome this apprehension that consumers are likely to have, saying, hey, less sugar means not going to taste as good. And that's what we want to surprise our consumers with. So I mean, that's really the, kind of the package in a nutshell. We have this in your folders as you take away, a summary of all the things that, that this initiative is all about. So just to summarize, a very exciting new chapter, possibly the most exciting chapter in the story of Cadbury Dairy Milk going forward. You've seen the journey of this brand as it has recruited consumers of all ages and town classes and all demographics, and really represent the quintessential taste of chocolate in the country. And now opening another chapter of a new pillar on this great brand. So that's what I wanted to share with you. And now, of course, we are open to Q&A. I invite Deepak and Ofira to help coordinate. Please feel free to ask questions, clarifications, anything more that you'd like to know about this initiative.
Just introduce your...
Deepak, if you have something to add. I think, yes, dark chocolate does exist, and dark chocolate, for some consumer cohorts, do believe that it has perceptions of well-being and goodness for them. For us, however, we know that dark chocolate is not an acceptable taste to a very, very large audience. It's a very niche audience. It's very niche audience that it serves. And finally, consumers are seeking these kind of alternatives from their favorite brands. They want their favorite brands to offer them these alternatives. And when we developed this product, we wanted to really reach out to as many people as possible who possibly would want this alternative. So this alternative in a smaller brand would have limited its reach.
Sure.
So we wanted to reach out as an option too.
And for people who like dark chocolate, we have Bonville.
Bonville, yes, yes. So would you be, I mean, if this is successful, would you be replicating that in the other versions too, like dark chocolate or silk or maybe others?
I mean, at this stage, we have taken 2 years to develop this.
Okay.
And this is really our largest brand.
Sure.
And this is one of the, the classic SKU of this brand.
Sure.
So this is really, it's not about starting small. We started big.
Okay.
Started actually with the biggest.
Sure.
So, we want to get this right. And it's going to take us a few years to get this right. So currently, this is the focus.
Sure. Thank you.
Thank you.
Any more questions? Yeah, there's one at the back there. Would we see you kind of following this strategy of cutting down on sugar across other products? And secondly, Deepak, if you could give us a sense on the growth. It's been growing pretty fast. India is one of the fastest growing markets.